Okay, so we're going to be inserting a cable into a field of stockinette. Our other cable pattern had cables kind of running throughout, and this one is just plopping right smack in the middle. And because cable stitches go from being nice wide stitches to tiny, tiny stitches, and it sucks your whole knitting in, we actually have to increase in order to do that. So I'm going to show you both the increases that we're going to do and then the cable that requires you to both knit and purl from it. So I'm going to just be purling to this middle stitch, and that's going to be shown on your chart what that stitch is. So I'm going to purl to that, and then I'm going to go ahead and take my little stitch marker off so I can see it. This is the stitch that I'm going to consider my middle stitch. So the first thing I'm going to do is do a make one right. So I'm going to lift that bar from the bar between those two stitches from the back to the front with my left hand needle. I'm then going to come into that the front of that stitch and knit it. Okay, now this is my middle stitch. So for this one, I'm going to do a knit, purl, knit all into one stitch. So I'm going to knit it. I'm going to bring my yarn forward and I'm going to purl it. I'm going to take my yarn, I'm not going to take it off at this point, take my yarn to the back and I'm going to come in and knit it again. Okay, and I've got then one stitch is now 3. And my last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a make one left. So I'm going to pick up that bar between the stitches from the front to the back and I'm going to knit into the back of it. Oops. Knit into the back. There we go. It's not a very stretchy yarn I'm using. All right, so that then takes that one stitch that I had in the middle, and now I've got knit, knit, purl, knit, knit. Now I'm going to take that off and do that the other way, so those of you who throw can see that as well. And as I take it out, you can see there's really only one stitch still there. Okay, my yarn's in my other hand. This is considered my middle stitch. So the first thing that I'm going to do is do a make one left. So I'm going to lift it from the rear and knit into the front. Okay, now I'm going to do a knit, purl, knit all into that middle stitch. I'm going to knit, take my yarn to the front, purl, and this is all in the front loop. This is not a knit front back or anything. Take my yarn to the back and knit. And now my single stitch is now 3. And now I'm going to lift that stitch for the make one left from the front to the back, and I'm going to knit into the back of it. And that gives me then my 5 stitches. Knit, knit, purl, knit, knit. Okay, now I'm just going to quickly purl to the end because there's nothing special in what I'm going to do now, so I'm just going to go back to my way. When we get to the reverse side, what we're going to do on the reverse side is we're going to work those cable stitches so that they appear correctly on the right side. So on my wrong side for a cable, I have stockinette, right? So I'm just going to knit these guys, and I'm going to knit all the way up to those stitches, and I can see them. I can see my purl stitch right there. So I'm going to knit all the way up to that first purl stitch. And that purl stitch, I want it knit on the right side, right? So I'm going to purl it on the wrong side in order to get a knit stitch. And then I've got that middle stitch right there. I'm going to go ahead and knit it so that it's a purl on the right side. Purl those last 2, and then knit to the end. And that's going to help us more clearly see the stitches that we're going to use in our cable when we get to the other side. We'll just get there really fast. Okay, so now we see in the middle, and yeah, you're going to get some little holes and stuff. This is an alpaca yarn, so it's particularly stretchy. You're going to see knit, knit, purl, knit, knit. Again, knit, knit, purl, knit, knit. Now the cable that we're going to do is called a 2-1-2 left leaning purled cable. That means these first 2 stitches that are knit are going to be held to the front. This middle stitch that is a purl, it's going to be held to the back, and we're going to knit these first 2 stitches so that they lean this way. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and purl right up to that. And I kind of gave you a cheaty, the knit, purl, knit of the 2, 1, 2. And just in case you're looking at it at home. All right, so I'm going to be coming right across, purling like usual. And okay, I get to my first knit stitches. Those 2 stitches are going to be put onto a cable needle and held to the front. I'm not going to, normally I would then knit something, right? Or work something off. This little purl stitch, I'm going to throw it on a second cable needle and I'm going to hold it to the back. And now I'm going to bring my yarn around and I'm going to knit those 2 stitches that are right there. I'm then going to throw my purl stitch back on because I still want my purl stitch to be in the middle. So I'm going to purl that. And now I'm going to take my knit stitches off my cable needle, slash repair crochet hook, put that down, and I'm going to knit those 2. Now, the problem with cables is when you very first do them and you look at it, you almost can't even tell what it is because it just looks a bit like a hot mess. So this is what it looks like right now. I'm going to go ahead and work the wrong side row, and I'm going to come back and show you what it will look like when you have stitches right on top of it. So I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so I wanted just you to be able to see this a little bit more clearly. So that's my left leaning cable, right? That's going zippy-doo right across. And that's the little stitches that were behind. And then this is my purl stitch right in here. And what that's going to allow me to do is I'll continue to work these 2 as cable stitches that will grow off to the right, these 2 as cable stitches that will grow off to the left, and this will be my center of the purl stitches that will be in the middle. And that is the key to doing those in the middle of your knitting your cable motifs. Hope that helps.